Well, we were talking about orac, and that's one of the sort of seasonal herbs, good for cool weather, fall and spring. There are also a group of perennial salad greens that we can plant in our gardens, and this is one of them. This is called Arugula selvatica in Italian, which means wild rocket. It's a little bit more bitey and pungent than your garden variety of arugula. It has a different color flower also. It's yellow because a common arugula has a white flower. But I love it. To me, it reminds me of tuna fish for some reason. And I mix it with tuna fish or put it on grilled tuna fish.
Right.
And the flavors sort of match. This is one of those garden veggies that takes care of itself, because if you plant it, you'll always have it. It'll reseed itself, and in fact, it can be a little invasive. But that's okay. You just weed out the ones you want to eat. And beside it, we've got Burnet, salad Burnet, which again is a perennial, and it comes up. It will also reseed itself, so it'll take care of itself. And this is one of those herbs that comes up very, very early in the spring. And actually, this might be a little too old because they get tough later on. No, it's still all right. But it's the very, very young shoots that you want to put into your salads. And surprisingly enough, it has the flavor of cucumbers.
It does actually. It's almost cleansing after eating the wild rocket.
Yes, and it was used in historical cooking for that very purpose, to take the taste away of something that you'd eaten before it. So if you think about this, what goes well with cucumbers goes well with Burnet, and you can use this also to increase the flavor of your cucumber salad or whatever. So these little plants have a lot of extra uses, and on top of it, it has a very nice flower that attracts pollinators in the early spring, in April particularly, when you want them in the garden.
With these strong colors, William, they must have some medicinal properties as well.
You can go into any old botanical book on botanical medicines and find both of these plants in them. This plant was considered warm and drying, so therefore if you had a cold coming on, this is something you might use for that. If you're running a fever, you want something cooling. That is what the Burnet was used for. So, but it also had internal uses that I off the top of my head, I can't think of.
Right.
But basically, that's where these two belong. So all of the old medical plants were categorized at one point in time by their warming or cooling qualities, whether they're moist, dry, what have you.
Dates back to, I guess the Asians use a lot of that, don't they?
Yeah, actually this goes back to the ancient Greek medicine. Yeah, the humoral, as they called it, humoral medicines. And what's funny is that science discarded this in the 19th century, and now we're beginning to realize that there was actually some common sense to some of these old attributes that we call old wives' tales. Actually, not so old wives.
Right.
Those old ladies knew something.
Right.
And there's a lot to be said for that. I find the salad Burnet very, very nice spring plant, and it can be used. Well, you can also put it in champagne cups and things like that. It's very nice in alcoholic beverages.
People use it primarily as a garnish then, or?
As a garnish in salads, or to add complexity to the flavor of a mixed spring salad. You can actually cook with it too. For example, if you're boiling peas, you can throw some of this in, and it'll give the pea stalk an interesting background flavor. Not boiling it hard, but just so that you're drawing out the flavor from the Burnet. In other words, getting that cucumbery, but there's something else going on in there. What is it? I don't know. Maybe that green pea pod taste. So they complement one another in any case.
Right.
So, and you know, it makes sense because they're both coming on in the spring at the same time.